Hey, Kalul.
Yeah, hi Rahul. Okay, I was working with EC2 and VPC connections recently, and I came across an issue where I'm trying to connect. So the scenario is something like this. I created a new VPC, and in that VPC, I created two subnets. One was public and one was private. So the public subnet became public after after creation of the subnet, I connected it to an internet gateway. So it became a public subnet. And then I also launched EC2 instances in both the subnets, in the private and in the public as well. I was able to connect using PuTTY. I'm using a Windows machine. So I used PuTTY to connect to the EC2 machine, first on the public subnet. And I was able to successfully connect it and get the updates using yum install.
Okay.
But now when I was trying to connect the EC2 instance in the private subnet,
okay,
obviously it will not connect directly to the internet. That is the whole point of creating a private subnet. But I had created a NAT gateway and I placed it in the public subnet.
Okay.
And using the route tables, the public subnet EC2 instance and the private EC2 instance, both were I'm able to communicate with each other. From each of the EC2 instances, I was able to ping them. So the private EC2 instance was able to ping the public EC2 instance and vice versa. But the problem is the private EC2 instance or the EC2 instance which is there in the private subnet, even after creation of the route tables and configuring it with the NAT gateway, it is still not connecting to the internet.
Okay, I got the question. So I just drawn it for understanding. Okay, so you have one public subnet, you have one private subnet. This is your VPC, and in this public subnet there is one EC2 which is able to connect outside world. Okay, that means internet 0.0.0.0/0.
Yeah.
Here you are not able to connect to internet. You want to do basically just one, you want to run one command, yum update -y. This is what to done in an EC2 machine so that you can apply a patch. A very good question. Let me answer this very quickly. So first of all, I hope you have an VPC. So let me quickly create a VPC for you and create two subnets, one public, one private. Here in this public subnet, you have a EC2 machine. As you told that this is connected to a IGW, we will also create an IGW and other things, the internet gateway, the NAT gateway and other things, and so that I can explain in detail.
The NAT gateway was placed in the public subnet.
Right. NAT gateway should be placed in the public subnet. That is a mandatory thing.
And the route tables in this connection, I must also inform you, there were two separate route tables created for each subnet, the public and the private. And in the private subnet, the rule that was placed, there were two rules placed. One was for the local with the network IP address range, that the source, if the destination was the local 10.0 network range, it was pointed to local. And anything apart from that, like for the 0.0.0.0/0 was pointed to the NAT gateway ID.
Right.
And in the public route table rule, one of the rules was added that if anything is for 0.0, I mean, like if the source is 0.0.0, that will connect to the internet gateway.
So I think whatever you have done, that is correct only, and it should work fine. But let us create this environment and see. Maybe that is one of the case which is there, or maybe we have the things went wrong in some place. We'll try to redo the activity. This is ideally should be the scenario. There should be one public elastic IP when you create a NAT gateway that should be assigned to it. And
that was assigned. Yes, that was assigned.
That should work fine. So I am not very much sure like why.
I see. I mean, like you said, you will recreate the scenario. So let's see.
Let us recreate the scenario. Okay. This is an AWS console. We'll go to VPC dashboard.
There is one thing I should tell you. I'm seeing that you are using the root account, but I created using a IAM admin after assigning administrator access. I did all the thing using a IAM role.
No problem. Okay. From there, not an issue. So let us create.
I will just tell you that I did not do this activity through the root account.
Okay, no problem. So we will create a VPC. Let us consider to be LWP Labs VPC. And then here we have to give a CIDR block. So let us consider a CIDR block as 10.0. 10.0.0 slash
16.
16. Okay, fine, 16.
Then the subnet we can create with 24, right?
Yeah, you can create like that.
Tenancy was default for me.
Okay, fine. Default is there. Cool. Now I created this particular VPC. Okay, and now this CIDR block, you already know that this is the whole IP range of this
particular VPC. 10.0, yeah.
This is the entire. Now, as this is a subnet, sub-network, this is full network. There are something sub-network. And as we have to create a sub-network, we have to have subnet CIDR. So that calculation also we have to do. So let me show you one quick way to do that.
I mean, in this respect, I can tell you what I did was I used 10.0.1 10.0.0.0/24. That was one for first subnet. And the other one was 10.0.1.0/24. So that I could get 256 usable IP addresses for each subnetwork.
So we can create that. Let us select the VPC and we create a subnet, which is, let us name it as public subnet. Okay, 1. This we can select.
I actually used no preference for this.
No problem. And then here you are saying we will
10.0.0.0/24.
Okay.
This was the first subnet. Yeah, fine.
Yeah. Okay. We'll create this subnet.
Okay, there is one question here related to this. As far as I have understood, in the console, AWS console, if you are you cannot manually input incorrect subnet CIDR values, right?
No, you cannot manually give incorrect.
Like just now we put in 10.0.0.0/24. So it would not have allowed, right? If this was incorrect.
No, if it is incorrect, it will not allow.
So that means this is usable, and this should have, as far as I can see, my calculation shows that this should have 256 available subnets.
Yeah, the easiest way to do is subtract it with 32
minus 16.
You will get 8.
Minus 24, yeah, 2 to the
power.
So 256 should come.
Okay, and if you do that,
you
2 to the power 8, you will get 256.
Yeah.
That means this will give you 256 IPs. Okay. Now similarly,
I have got
another subnet.
It's not exactly a doubt. Out of this 256, this is my understanding. Please let me know if I'm correct or wrong in this. Out of these 256 IPs, first 4 will be reserved by AWS and the last one will be the broadcast.
Yeah, we will come to that later because we have to
okay, fine.
Solve this. Okay, yeah. Let us go to private subnet 1. And then here we can select the same region.
It will be better if you don't put space, use dash.
Okay, fine. For now, we just have to show, right? Let us keep this.
This will be 10 dot.
And
What I used was 10.0.1.0 /24.
24.
This should also give us 256 usable IPs.
Right. So there are now two subnets. One is public, one is private.
Private, yeah.
Okay. Now we will create a route table. Okay. Let's create
So,
a.
I mean, you should be
And
creating
that is
two
public.
route tables, right?
Yeah, there will be automatically one route table will be created when you create a.
The VPC, yeah.
Okay, let us name this as a public
RT. Yeah.
Save.
So one is already created, so we will create only one more, the private RT.
Right. So let us associate this public RT with the
public subnet. Cool. Okay. This is the private RT, yeah. Now we will have to set the inbound and outbound rules. Oh yeah, subnet association is private. Okay.
one public, one route table, one private route table, one private subnet.
So the associations are okay. See, one question here. Don't change the screen, please. Under the main column, the private one is showing main art as no. No, above in the panel above.
Yeah, this is main route table. Public when you create a VPC, a main route table will be created. That is like seeded with the VPC, which will be coming. Is considered to be as main.
So, but the private one is saying no. So should this be yes?
No, it is okay. No only because this is not a main route table. This is the main route table which got created by default when you create the VPC. Okay. So this is an interview question. Generally, when you go for an interview, the people ask, okay, what happens when you create VPC? You should say, okay, a route table should create. Fine. So now we will go and create an internet gateway quickly. Internet gateway is like a main internet gate. It's a main door of your VPC through which people can come inside and people can go. It's a two-way thing. Now we will go to the.
We have to associate it with the. So right now, if I say actually both the subnets are actually private, right? Until unless it is any one is connected to the internet gateway, they will behave as private subnets only, right?
So what does this mean? This means
this is the private IP.
Yeah, this is what this is the full network with which we created the VPC, the full CIDR block. If you see the diagram, this is the full network. So now you are saying local. Local means inside this EC2 can talk to this EC2, this EC2 can talk to another EC2. Inside this, anyone can talk to each other.
Correct.
This is your community. Suppose if you are staying in a community called Lodha community, and inside that there are multiple blocks. So people inside each other can go anywhere. Okay, it is like this. They can ping. They can do bring a bill to anybody's home. Okay, it is not a problem. It's like it is allowed. It is inside a network. Okay, through this only you can define that. Now, what are we saying? People from outside, okay, can come and people from inside can go to outside. For this, we need an internet gateway, a main door of your VPC. For that reason, what will you do? You will select this internet and then you select the internet gateway.
Internet gateway, yeah.
Okay, internet gateway.
No, yeah, it choose it, select, yeah, this should have come up.
Yeah. Okay, let me see where we have created the internet gateway. This internet gateway is a detached mode, so we have to attach it.
Okay. Yeah, we missed this step. Yeah.
Okay. And now we go to this route table. We go to public route, edit.
Edit. Yeah, now it should automatically come up with the new gateway. Yeah, cool.
Done. Now we'll go to another route table, which is private. And here, this is private. So public, it is acceptable. If there are any server, it is acceptable that people can go. If there is a public place in your community, suppose in your community there is a movie hall, theater, Inox theater, or there is a Regal theater, okay, cinema hall. People can come to see movies. It will not be dedicated for the community people only. It is dedicated. It is public for use. Anyone can come. Anyone can go. If there is a restaurant there, anyone can come. Anyone can go. So they will keep that particular restaurant, or they will keep that cinema hall in the public area. Similarly, here this EC2 machine you have kept in the public area, because this is that this EC2 machine doesn't have or doesn't run any application which is in security threat, and you can keep this here.
So maybe like web servers. So,
for the connectivity from outside world to this.
Right.
Generally, in company, in IT world, we use not for the web server also, we use it for the jump servers. Okay. I'll explain you what is jump server, or we use it for bastion host. This bastion or jump server means same. Okay, these are for if you want to connect to the private servers. Generally, it is not allowed directly to connect to this EC2 machine. So you have to connect to
that will be a backend server.
Yeah, you have to connect to this particular server.
Then it will route it through,
and then you need to switch to this server. This is called
route table.
Because you're jumping, because you're jumping from public to private, but you are connecting.
So one question. So this jumping that is happening from the EC2 in the public subnet to the EC2, which is there in the private subnet.
Correct.
Is happening through the private route table, right? Through the definition of the private route table, right?
Through the definition of. Okay, so through the definition of,
or maybe both, actually
obviously,
both.
Yeah, through the definition of the private route table here, because private, you are trying to connect to the target. A target is this EC2 machine, which is having again the local thing, right? When you go here, there is a thing which is there, and this is allowing this connectivity to come inside, right? Now, private thing requires an internet. Because you want to do yum update -y, there is something called, you need to understand that there is something called repository. Okay, like this server, suppose this server is a Red Hat server. It's an operating system which is Linux. That means, like in my Windows, it is waiting for Microsoft to apply the update. Here you see the button. Okay, similarly, in Linux also, every month we should apply the update. And this is a very, very critical activity in your company. This is one of the activity, a major activity every month you will be doing in your company as a DevOps engineer. Okay. Right. And as a DevOps engineer, your task is to always keep your server up to date with all the vulnerabilities. Okay. Means the security fixes and all those things should not be there. The vulnerabilities should be 0. Okay. If you find, if there are vulnerabilities in the server, that means what? Your security team will be charging you, okay, and you need to be answerable to the security team, and security is the utmost priority of any company. Okay, so you can say I am doing this, your application might be very, very critical, but then they will not listen to that. Okay, because security means if there is security, your customers' credit cards and all those things are there, there will be a government law, you are bound of, you have to fix all those vulnerabilities. Okay, otherwise government will fine you. It's just not that company will fine you, or it's you are bound to the government laws. Okay, you have to do business, but then with the government laws. So this is very, very important. And now you know that this command it seems to be a very small command, but then this is doing a lot of tasks. You have to run this command every month, which will go to this particular repository, whose repository? Red Hat repository. Okay, Red Hat will have this kind of repository where you will be going and applying the
Security patches.
Security patch. Okay. Sorry. Red Hat repo, where you will be having the patches. So suppose if there is in this server, there is Vim, there is curl, all these utilities are there. Okay. All these utilities update will be present here. Okay. If there is OpenJDK, there is a Java installed here. The Java patch will be here. So when you run it will go. This is version 1. The version 2 will be here. And when you run yum update -y, the version 2 will be downloaded and installed.
Right.
That's the whole thing which is happening, and then your vulnerabilities will be solved. So this is the thing which is there. Now you have to do this. That means it is an outbound request. That means you should go out, that EC2 machine will be able to send the output, okay, to the internet. This Red Hat repository is not your company's inside your company network. It is in the under the Red Hat repository. Red Hat is a separate company. Your company is a separate company. So this is
a public IP actually.
Yeah, this is the public network for you. Okay, right. So you need to go and download this thing here. For this to happen, you need an internet connectivity. So this is called egress. Okay, you will be able to go outbound. Okay, this is an egress connectivity which is going out. Okay, not an ingress connectivity. It is going out. Sometimes people will say you go to northbound. Okay, southbound, northbound connectivity. So anyway, southbound means go outside. Northbound means come inside. Okay, it is ingress. Northbound is equal to ingress. Southbound is equal to egress.
Egress. Okay.
So let us do this activity to happen. For your server to go for your server to apply this particular command, you need an internet connectivity, and that internet connectivity will be provided by NAT gateway. This particular device. This device you will be. This device you keep it in private subnet. Again, it's a very important interview question. Where should you keep your NAT gateway if your private network requires internet connectivity? If you
NAT gateway should be in public subnet always.
Yes, correct. So NAT gateway,
or in the subnet which is connected to the internet gateway.
So NAT gateway should be present in the public subnet, because it is not always again true. When your requirement is to have an internet connectivity, and then and only then you require NAT gateway to be present in the public subnet. Okay, so NAT gateway
private instance, right?
Yeah, for private networks, for private subnets. So now your private subnet requires an internet connectivity. So you will create a NAT gateway in the public subnet, and you will attach it with private route table. And this private route table is anyway attached to the private subnet, right? So your private route table is this, which is attached to the private subnet.
Yes.
We have to create a NAT gateway. This is kind of a one-way flyover where only outbound is allowed, inbound is not allowed. So NAT will it will block the inbound thing. It will only allow you to outbound. That means hackers will not be able to connect to your network to fetch data. If there is something important present here, okay, hackers will not be allowed to come here from outside world. Okay, right. Then you can go and always connect to google.com or Red Hat repository or anywhere. Okay, so this is right. So now let's create a NAT gateway quickly. Create NAT gateway, give it a name. When you create a NAT gateway, always remember that this is a cost. It will incur you cost. But anyway, we'll create it for now. NAT gateway. Select a subnet.
I think it is like 0.056 per hour.
Yeah.
Dollars, yeah. American dollars.
We'll select a public subnet. We'll allocate an elastic IP. Elastic IP is nothing but a static public IP.
This is the one which is actually chargeable. This
elastic IP. So you create a subnet, attach an elastic IP, create NAT gateway. That's it, done. Now
no, the state is pending. It will come. The IP will. It has not yet.
let it come. Meanwhile, we will attach it. No problem. We'll go to table. We'll select private. We'll go to route. We'll edit route, add route. Again, we'll select 0. That means anything coming from internet, send it to NAT gateway.
Yes.
Because NAT gateway is going to block the inbound connection and only going to send the outbound connection. Save changes. Okay, fine. Done. So now your route table is also done. So this is done, VPC is done. What we will do now, we will quickly go and create
instances.
Before we do that, let us do one small thing. We can actually click on this public subnet, and then there are things here. Edit subnet settings, enable auto assign public IP. That means whenever
this has to be enabled. Yes.
Subnet, you want, that means whenever you create a restaurant in your public area, you want that to be published in the Google business, so that anyway people will know and they will come, and advertisement is already done. Something like this. That means whenever you create a EC2 machine in the public subnet, this should have public IP, not just private IP. So you are checking up this option, save it. Okay. Once that is done, what will you do? You will go and
when you said this, you are referring to the subnet IP, right? Not the EC2 IP.
Subnet will not have an IP. It's a EC2 IP. Okay, subnet is having a CIDR. It's a range. Subnet is like a piece of land. It's a public piece of land, right? It is, suppose it is your full network, means a big land you purchased from government, and you are trying to have a big community there. In that, you kept a small piece of land for public area. In that, you keep this small piece of land for private area. So this public area will have multiple addresses, right? That is called CIDR, a range of address, right? One address you will assign to one EC2 machine.
Objects here.
The devices which you will be creating.
Yeah.
So that is why I am actually clicking on subnet, and I am actually editing the subnet. That means I am saying anything which is getting created in this subnet, which is public subnet, you assign a public IP. Don't think, because I know that I am creating something in the public area that should have public IP. Why to have private IP? Okay.
My understanding was this refers to the private IP. So here you are actually letting AWS console decide which private IP.
No, not private IP. It is
public IP. Public IP. Yeah.
Okay, fine. Now what we will do, we will try to go to the EC2 machine and we'll quickly create 2 servers. Okay.
One for the public subnet and one for the private subnet.
Right. So what I will do, I'll just stop this. The existing one. I'll launch an instance. I'll give a name. EC2 public subnet. Something like this.
No, EC2 public is enough.
At public subnet. Okay. So that it will be easy. And then we'll click on Red Hat. And then we will go T2 micro, select the key, which I have already one key, which is Rahul, or maybe I can select this one.
If you don't mind, can you create a new key pair? So not to confuse it. If it is not a challenge.
Yeah, I can, but the video will be long. Anyway.
I was just trying to recreate the entire scenario, which I exactly did.
Okay. So I can create a new key pair and give a name like Rahul, okay, issue, suppose something like that, or Kalol issue, okay, and then click on PPK, create key pair. Key pair is downloaded. Now, here, this is your key pair which you will be using. So there are 2 options, one is PPK, one is PEM. So you downloaded the PPK directly, okay, and then here, you selected below. If you go, you are selecting the security group where you are allowing the SSH traffic. That means if this is you DevOps engineer, you can connect to this server in the VPC, okay, with SSH, okay, using
Fine.
okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
and SSH works at 22 port. So that is why here it is SSH, and it is saying anywhere for now, means anywhere can connect. So for now, you just think that this is like by default. Okay, we will come to that later. Just select this for now, mug it up.
Right.
We'll see
Right.
this when we see EC2 in detail. Okay, okay, for now, just select that, select this 10 GB. All these things are already selected. Check it here. It should be Red Hat. It should be T2 Micro. But then the network part we missed. Okay, here you see, click on Edit Network, Subnet, select the VPC which we created just now, which is LWP Labs, and create a public subnet. Okay.
Yeah.
And then auto assign public IP is already on, which is okay. And launch wizard 4. Here it is asking you to give a name to launch wizard 4. We can give
SG public,
any security group, SG1 suppose, okay, or SG SSH, because we are opening only SSH. And here you can write SSH is open. Fine, cool. And SSH 22 port anywhere 00. For now, just mug it up, keep it by default. And then everything is okay. AMI T2 Micro 10 GB size, launch. Okay, it's saying create security group failed. Maybe for parameter group name is invalid, group name may not be in the format SG hyphen.
Oh, some special character must have.
Yeah, it is not taking this SG hyphen. So delete this S. Okay, SSH and
SG public. Okay, fine. SG SSH.
Yeah, because this is for security group. It's not for public, and we will use the same security group for the private also. And that's it, done. Now we created the server, which is the first server.
1 second. Did you say we will be using the same security group for the private EC2 instance?
Correct. Because this is security group. Security group is reusable, right? Because what is the reason we are creating security group? To open 22 port. That's it. Okay. Now, if you want to use it for the private, see here in this case for the private server, what we want, yeah, definitely you are correct. You are saying that why do we have to open it for all? Then I have to open only for this particular server. Okay, because we can.
That means for the private EC2 instance, we should have a separate security group, right?
Okay, for the private machine.
Okay, please correct me if I'm wrong. My understanding is security groups are at the instance level, whereas your route table rules, they are at the subnet level.
Correct. NACL rules are at the subnet level. So yeah.
Or the VPC level. So that means my understanding is you should have a separate security group for the private EC2 instance, which we will create later on.
Yeah, we can create that separate one. Okay. First, let us see this. Here, if you see, we have one public IP, one private IP, which is okay. And we have this public server ready. Now we'll create another server in a private subnet. And we'll write EC2
private
at private
subnet.
Okay. We'll select Red Hat.
Same Red Hat. No, we have to use the same security key, right? Yeah. Fine. So here we will choose the private subnet, right? Yeah, cool.
Yeah. See, this is disabled.
This will be disabled
in public IP.
Yeah.
Okay. Now we if you want, we can use the same security group. Okay, there is no harm. But because we don't want to open it for anywhere, what we will do now, we will try to create SG, suppose private.
Dash it will not take, right? You will again get error.
Yeah. So we will try to use SG private.
And no, here the thing is, I'm saying that for this, while trying to connect, a private EC2 instance or a EC2 instance in a private subnet, we can use the same security group which was used for the public subnet.
Ideally, we should not, but because this is a demo which I am.
Because you are again opening up the 0.0. I mean, like you are opening.
No, I will not open for 0.0. I will open it for the.
No. This one is private. This one you are creating. That was the question that I had. So
I will open for this.
This is SSH you have to anyways open, otherwise you will not be able to do the
correct. No, for see, now try to understand. You cannot, if you are outside, you cannot connect to this EC2 from outside with 22 port. Right?
Right.
Through jump server. Now this server is like a jump server. You will connect to this server and then from here to here. That means this 22 port should be open for this server.
Correct.
If this server is in the security group, which is SGSSH, you can open this 22 port for SGSSH. That is what I am doing here. So what I am SSH custom, select this from my anywhere from custom, and then here give SGSSH. When you give SGSSH, because see your public server, this particular server was having the security group which is public SGSSH. So now what are you doing? You are saying that, okay, this security group is open for SGSSH. Tomorrow, if you have another server created and that also have SGSSH, any server which is having a security group which is SGSSH can connect to your server. Okay?
Via the EC2 instance in the public subnet.
So here we will type SGSSH and done. Okay. And that's the reason we have opened. So SSH for SGSSH security group, okay, which is assigned to public servers.
Public
jump
subnet
server.
Jump server. Okay, yeah, jump server. Fine.
Okay, so you should write all these things, otherwise you will forget why you are doing all these things. Okay, in the description window. This is a good practice. Now, once you have done this thing and 10 GB, I think AMI is done.
Only difference was the auto assign IP. Here it is disabled because it is private instance.
Again, it is failed. Now, why it is failed? CIDR block SGSSH is malformed. Okay. Now
that's what I was trying to tell you, because SGSSH is connecting to 0.0.0. That should not happen because this is private. The whole point of creating NAT gateways go via, because NAT gateway, as far as I understand, it will convert. That is the network address translation it is doing. It will convert the private IP instance of EC2 in the private subnet into a public network.
No, 1 minute. Let me.
I think you have to create a new security group here. Let's see. What
we can create a new. We are creating new one only. But then what are we doing? We have to open. See how this. We're creating a new one. But then.
But you are creating a conflict here, right? The moment you are allowing the custom to connect with SGSSH, that security group already has got the internet protocol for like 0.0.0 associated with it. I think if you remove this, then
I have to give a.
I think.
Let's make it easy.
1 minute. If you go back to that screen, I think you should put 10.0.1, thus the IP address of the private subnet in that.
Subnet. So that's what. If we go to subnet,
10.0.1.24.
We have two options. We can give security group. Generally, security group also we give, because there is a conflict happening, what we will do, we'll give this IP range. From this range, anyone can SSH. So we'll give this range and range works or not.
So this is from the private, the public subnet IP.
Yeah. So from this range, that means from the top, from this.
Yes. Now it should work. Yes.
From the pink thing, or from this thing.
If there is a SSH 22 port command, it will allow. Yes, this should work.
Okay. So let's try this. So again, it is failing. It is saying security group does not exist. Security group does not exist. Now what it is, instance, and there is something which is like simple mistake. Let me see. Subnet disable.
I think you are already allowing. See, this custom thing you have to remove. SSH is already allowed at the top. This is the new security group rule, right? This SSH rule, TCP22, this is for the security SG private. So we are already allowing it. You don't need that custom.
No, we have to. It is not I need or no. It is see, this SSH is 22 port, but then for whom you should allow this? That's the portion, right?
Okay, source type. So
Whom,
then, yeah.
Okay, 1 minute. Sometimes now this behaves abnormally. Why? Because there is it takes time. So I will just change it and I'll just give this IP range from security advanced network.
Oh, one thing, you did not add the rule. I think you need to click on that add rule.
No, we don't have to add anything.
Oh, this one, okay.
Group rule.
No, that is the second rule. No, I don't.
Second rule, yeah. No, that is nothing required. It is good. It should work. Okay. This is some rubbish error. Okay. Let us try.
It is saying that 49B does not exist here. Now
I told you, right? This is sometimes it happens. We don't have to focus that. Try it again and it will work. Okay, fine. Now, okay, we have two servers. We have to log into this server with this 𝐒𝐷𝐿 issue PPK. Okay,
right.
So we will go open a putty.
You have to take the public host.
If you don't know how to install putty, just go to Google and type putty download and install it. Now here we will do.
You need the public host
load. Yeah, profile load. Give this public hostname IP. And then go here and type EC2-user because the username is this. Then go to SSH, go to auth. Here,
browse the
particular thing there. Browse it to the one which you just now downloaded. It will be there in the download section. Issue. Yeah. Keep it. Go here, session, save, and open. Okay. Yes, it's not opening. Maybe we have done something wrong. So profile load.
No, when did you copy the public IP? Maybe that public IP.
Yeah, no. It's again an issue which happens in my laptop only. 1 minute. I have to use new putty. Okay. Profile load. So I downloaded this putty long back. That's why it is happening.
Maybe.
And the IP is same. Profile is okay. SSH auth. In the new putty, let me tell you one thing. In the new putty, it will not be under auth. It is changed a little bit. It will be under auth credential. Here you have to give this session and now open. And you see it is switch to root and you run yum update -y. This is anyway without running this. Okay, you can do easy because it will take time. You just do curl -vk.
Oh, you can just to check internet connectivity, you can ping Google also.
Google.com. See if I do curl and if it is actually giving me this particular thing, or if you see these 200 status, that means everything is okay. It is connecting to Google.com. You can also do ping, which you are saying. And if you are able to do that, that is okay. But ping is not a valid thing. You can try this one.
Curl -vk Google.com.
Curl -vk. Okay. It will show you the log file here. 200.
HTTP 1.1 200 status. Yeah.
This is the main thing. So now you are able to connect to Google.com. That means outbound connection is there from your server, which is okay. Now we will do clear. We'll try to log.
Question here. When you are doing ping, so the inbound connection is also there, right? Otherwise, how are you getting the reply?
No.
Ping is giving us inbound and outbound confirmation both, right?
That's a separate concept altogether. We'll come to that in our next class.
Next video. Fine.
Okay. Now what we have to do, we have to connect to this particular server.
Yeah.
And this server
EC2 user at the private IP address of the EC2.
To connect to this server, you need a PEM key. So we have just PPK, but we do not have PEM key. Okay.
We can use pageant for that. We can load the putty pageant. We can use.
So we can
I mean,
convert
that's what I did. I used a putty pageant tool.
we can use putty pageant, but for now, what are we doing? We can convert this PPK to, you can try Google, okay, convert PPK to PEM, okay, and convert a PEM file into PPK, convert a PPK file into PEM, okay. We need a PPK. So we need a PEM file. So we can run a command. Windows convert a PPK file into PEM, start putty gen, action, choose PPK file, then choose open.
Yeah, we can use. Okay, so either way, you needed putty gen for that case.
Okay, we'll click on putty gen and then follow this process.
Load the current file. Load
the file.
PPK. Yeah, load.
Load the
downloads. This one. Now it will convert.
Okay.
Save private key.
1 minute. Choose the PPK file and then choose open and then clear the key phrase and confirm key phrase field.
That is just a second level of security, right? Let us not use that. Again, you have to put password again, second time.
Make a conversion from the menu at the putty generator and export open SSH. Conversion from the menu, conversion, export.
No, if you save private key, it will automatically
Oh,
do it.
this will always say PPK. We don't want PPK, na? This is the opposite thing which we are doing. We are trying to do PPK to PEM.
Oh, PPK to PEM.
In our class, we have done maximum time PEM to PPK. This time we are doing.
Okay. Yeah. We're exporting it as a private key in the PEM.PEM format. Right.
So now what will you do? Go to downloads and you will see there is a PEM file which is coming here. And now copy paste Control-A, Control-C, go to the server and write a key like internal key. Okay, write anything, paste it, save it, chmod 600.
So you are actually 400, right? This should be 400. Why 600? It should be read
Can
only.
do 400 also. 600 till 600. Beyond this 600 is an error. 600 is okay. And 400 is okay, whatever you wish.
What I was saying, so that it should be read only. So see, here I see a security concern here. You're storing the private key. So that is once again a security risk. There is no
generally jump host, there will be private key, or you can use pageant and all.
Okay.
For that. For now, we are not concerning that because our question is little different, which we are focusing on. So this is a private subnet. This is our IP. Here there is no public IP. We are trying to connect from public to private.
Right.
Keep this and we give a username as EC2-user @ and then give yes, and then we are connected. Now switch.
Yeah, fine.
Root connected. Now again we will do curl. Ideally, as you told, it was not working for you. Now what are we doing? We are trying to connect to google.com. Google.com. So now what will happen? This is an outbound connection.
Right.
This is an outbound connection. That means it will go to NAT gateway, and NAT gateway will find out that this is an outbound connection. So it will send the traffic. So we'll be connecting, right? So this is our test case which we have done.
So yum install update should also work.
So that will also work. So this simple test case will explain you the whole scenario. Good.
Yeah.
We are doing this. I hope you understood this. Please subscribe for our channel.
Sure.
𝐿WPLabs.com, and
I'll try to recreate.
If you have any other issues, please go ahead to 𝐿WPLabs.com /forum, ask your questions. And our experts will be there who will be day and night working 24/7. Why? Because we are across the world. Some are in US,
Your blog post, right?
and they will be able to answer your questions. So what you have to do is LWP Lab /forum, go to general discussion, or you have any questions, go and ask. You can also read all the posts from our past students, past experts, all those questions are there. If you have any questions, go and ask it. If you want to write any blog, let us know. We can actually give you access for writing a blog as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much.